Alright, now that we established that I'm a total mark, your man Vash with you here for the post-Wrestlemania pre-Raw / after Raw review. Raw has not happened yet. We're still a little ways from that, but this is post-Wrestlemania. I'll have the Raw review after that because, let's face it, Wrestlemania nowadays is a 2-day event. There is the main event that happens on Sunday, and the aftermath that happens the following night on Raw. So this is all going to be about WrestleMania. Later on, I'll have the Raw review. I'll probably have a different shirt on, everything. But this is all about WrestleMania, which happened last night. Also, down there in the description, you can see the timestamps. But feel free, just jump ahead to a particular segment. I'm pretty sure I know which one most of you are going to jump to. But nonetheless, this is the full WrestleMania review. So without further ado, let's hop on to it. WrestleMania Rewind. So, opening match of the night was defense of the Tag Team Championships by the champions, the Usos, against Los Matadores, the Real Americans, and Rybaxel. What a shame. Remember last year when Ryback was he was around the cusp of being the next big thing, and now he's this? Ugh. Anyways. For an opening match, pre-show match, this is the match before the big event, did its job. It was serviceable enough. Out of 5 stars, we'll give it 3. It did what it was supposed to. Everyone had their spots, and it was fine. I would have liked to see the Real Americans win the Tag Team Gold, have a proper run with the Gold. I think they were the better tag team for a long time before the Usos. I think they deserve a proper tag team title run, but obviously that didn't happen. So yes, they lost. Usos retained the championships, and I don't see another tag team right now challenging the Usos, so they should probably have a proper run for some time, unless the Shield gets thrown back into the tag team division and makes a run for it. But right now, it's the Usos, and there's no one else really threatening anytime soon. Of course, the Americans split, so spoilers. In case you didn't see it, it's your own fucking fault. But anyways, the split actually happened, and the minute that happened, I think we knew what was going to happen later on in the night. So it did what it was supposed to do. 3 stars out of 5. Congrats to the Usos for retaining the tag team titles. I would love to see the Real Americans have a small run at it, but it's the Usos or no one else right now. So there you go, 3 out of 5 for our pre-show match before WrestleMania. Yes, I am skipping The Rock, Austin, and Hogan in the ring at the same time because I'm about the matches, not about the segments. Great moment. Technically 3 generations of icons in one ring. Great, but this is about wrestling, and the match started the way we all knew it was going to start. Triple H versus Daniel Bryan. Right off the bat, if we can give it a marking, 4 out of 5. These guys, if this was a main event match, I think people would have left happy right from the get-go. This was a main event quality match in the first match, and these guys treated it as such. 4 out of 5 right off the bat. Crowd hot from the get-go. Both guys. I don't care about entrances, but yes, Triple H's entrance was pretty cool, but all about the match itself. This was 2 guys that understand the craft of wrestling, telling a story in the ring, as opposed to having, the commentators tell you the story in your ear while watching 2 guys in the ring potentially try to tell you a story how it's supposed to be done. This was 2 guys at a 2 master craftsmen showing you a story in the ring. Didn't need the commentators. The commentators could have shut up the entire match. And what they did in the ring was a perfect translation of the months, almost a full year of Daniel Bryan's ascension, knocked back down, ascension, knocked back down, ascension, to where he is now. 4 stars. I can't give it 5 because it wasn't the full 5. It's damn near close. It maybe a 4 point something, but it's definitely a 4-star quality match out of 5. Brought the house down from the first match, which tells you how good this match really, really was. Kudos to both men for putting out amazing match. Of course, Daniel Bryan winning clean, which he needed to do, and of course setting up the triple threat match for later on in the night. Triple H selling the anger of his loss, taking the chair, taking out that shoulder. Well done there. All added up perfectly. WrestleMania started off the way we hoped it would have started off, on a hot buzz. 4 out of 5. That's all I can say. 4 out of 5. Congrats to both men for putting on a good match. And moving on. This wasn't so much a match as it was a mugging. The Shield versus Kane and the New Age Outlaws. Full-blown, absolute ass whooping. Wasn't even a match. And when I first watched this match, I think the initial take was, wow, that was an ass whooping. You know, the Shield showed their dominance. It wasn't even close. It wasn't no drama or anything. It was the Shield coming to the ring saying this is our yard. Sorry, Undertaker fans, but that's the best analogy I can give. Walk to the ring saying this is our yard. You step between those ropes, your ass belongs to us. Laid waste to Kane and the New Age Outlaws, and then after the initial holy wow that was awesome kicked in, the logical to me kicked in. I'm like, man, for the amount of build up this match has had over the last couple of weeks, I thought they would have had a little more time in this. It really was a one-sided, old school Saturday afternoon on TV whooping. There was no drama. There was nothing else. This was the Shield going to town on Kane and the Outlaws. And later on in the night, revealed itself as to why this match was so short. It needed that match to be short for something that was going to happen later on in the night. If you don't know what that is by now, so you didn't watch last night, and I will get to that later on if you haven't watched or haven't watched the news or radio, have your best friend bitch about to you on Facebook or somewhere. It was the reason why the Shield played an ass whooping on Kane and the New Age Outlaws. But this does look good for the Shield. This certifies their dominance as the group. Ambrose, Reigns, and Rollins. I do wish WWE does not screw this up and break up the Shield too soon like they did the Nexus. This is a group that has a lot of mileage. I still think in it as a group. Don't break them up just yet. It's inevitable. Don't do it yet. I think there's a good couple more months involved with the Shield before we can start teasing a legitimate breakup. But congrats to the Outlaws for showing up. I'm pretty sure Road Dogg's injuries too, with his back being what it was, according to certain reports, I think had a good part of it why this match was cut short. But in the end, hail the Shield, Hounds of Justice, man. Fuck, just believe in the Shield. It is now time for the Andre the Giant 30-man Memorial Battle Royal. And if you had the Big Show to win it, you are a big loser. There was absolutely no inclination leading up to this that should have told you the Big Show was going to win this. If you were listening to WWE programming, believing the Big Show was a forerunner to win this, you're a big fucking moron. There was no way the Big Show was going to win this Battle Royal. I will give him this. In the spiritual sense of the word, as in Giants go, Big Show, I believe, is the spiritual successor to Andre the Giant when it comes to being the big man on campus, the larger-than-life athlete. But let's face it, Big Show has had zero credibility success in Battle Royals. If he had won a Royal Rumble somewhere in his past, I would be willing to give him the nod, saying that, yeah, Big Show, I think, is the forerunner to win this event. This really did feel like Money in the Bank minus Money in the Bank. This was Money in the Bank in Battle Royal form, meaning I don't think they're going to go with an established star winning this match. This was going to be someone that was going to break through the glass ceiling, like when Edge won it way back when. This was their moment of going, okay, I'm here. It's time to ascend, crack through, get to the next level. This is what this felt like. This felt like the spiritual successor to Money in the Bank. And it turned out to be, I do believe it turned out to be that way. So let's get right down to it, right from the get-go. Kofi Kingston, dude, you are hurting me. Every freaking Royal Rumble, and now I guess we can count Battle Royals now, you're going to pull out a miraculous escape. You're going to escape elimination, only to be eliminated, 30 seconds later like you normally are? I'm tired of this horrible parlor trick. I would be more invested now in Kofi Kingston in a Royal Rumble, in a Battle Royal, if this escape led to a win. He's now known for this parlor trick of escaping elimination in these grand fashions. They look absolutely great. I love them, but honestly, I don't feel it anymore because there's no payoff in the end. He's not gonna win. He's just a parlor trick. Parlor tricks get tired quick. Nature Boy Ric Flair's fall down to the floor face first thing is a parlor trick. Nowadays, it's great because of the nostalgia effect. Seeing it week after week after week, let's face it, it's a parlor trick. You're expecting it. There's no payoff in it anymore. Granted, it's Ric Flair, but still, it's a cheap parlor trick. Kofi, you're becoming a cheap parlor trick. Tired of it, bro. I want you to ascend. Enough of this bullshit. Pull off the escape. Pull off the win. Getting back to the Battle Royal itself. like all battle royals, first 5 minutes or so is pretty much one big massive muck of just shit. Just too many bodies, not enough room. You're kind of peeking through the ring, trying to see who's doing what, see who's doing what kind of spot. It's until about 10 eliminations so, well, there's 30 people in this one, so let's say about 15 eliminations or so. There's enough room to see more proper spots, get your crowd involved in the battle royal, not just a couple guys doing punches and kicks and attempting to throw someone over. But that's usually how battle royals go. Cesaro had to win this. The minute the Real Americans did not win the tag team titles earlier night, it was a foregone conclusion. Cesaro was going to win this. Even before WrestleMania started, we pretty much assumed the Usos were going to leave with the tag team titles, which was going to leave the door open for Cesaro to win this. Like I said, this felt like Money in the Bank. Sure enough, Cesaro did win it, and only fitting, he eliminated the favorite in the Big Show for the last elimination to win it, and in grand fashion, picking him up, body slam style, of course, and throwing him over the top rope, showing the Swiss Superman is, I think, what CM Punk said a long time ago. He think he is pound for pound the strongest man in the WWE. Sorry, John Cena, I do believe it is the Swiss Superman in Cesaro. And Big Show, class act that he truly is, shaking Cesaro's hand. I think I said this a couple times already, but need to drive home this point. This did feel like Money in the Bank. This was Cesaro's Money in the Bank moment at WrestleMania. Obviously he's going to feud with Swagger, but it's probably going to be short-lived. Cesaro should be ascending the ladder very, very quickly into the main event status. With one world title now, I'm not sure how it's going to work out, but this is Cesaro's Money in the Bank moment. We're going to give this stars. We'll give it 3 because it is a battle royal. For the moment that it stands for, I'll give it 4 because the moment, I think, is a propel to 4 stars. The match itself was 3. The moment is definitely 4. So, whew, Cesaro, we the people, man. Shit. So now, if you know me, you're probably expecting me to go ham on John Cena right now and slam him for his work in his match with Bray Wyatt, and you would be almost right. I'm not going to surprisingly slam John Cena all that much here. Let's get a couple of facts out of the way from the get-go. I am not a big fan of John Cena. I am not a big fan of his wrestling work because I don't believe John Cena has any real wrestling work. He looks great on a poster, looks great kissing a baby and all those dying kids. But if I had to trust him in a wrestling match, I wouldn't trust him to save my life. But he is the modern day Hulk Hogan, which is why he's getting a pass from many executives and mommies and daddies out there. In the wrestling ring, however, John Cena, I will not, again, I would never ever care to see a John Cena match. There'll be certain occasions where I will care, but this is usually when I say nope, don't care. The match was pitiful. It was absolutely positively fucking pitiful as far as a wrestling standpoint goes. However, and this is where I will give Cena great praise. I can't even actually saying this. I will give him great praise. John Cena versus Bray Wyatt. The wrestling match was pitiful. John Cena versus Bray Wyatt. The story that was told in the wrestling ring was absolutely positively good. Scary. Really good. The whole premise of this match leading in was, of course, Bray Wyatt going to expose the world to the monster that is John Cena, the real John Cena, as it were. And as far as the match goes, they did play up to that. Some good spots done by Bray Wyatt in the face of John Cena. The best one by far was when John Cena was going to do his 5-knuckle shuffle, and Bray Wyatt did that weird exorcist backwards crab shit, which had the whole crowd go, Duh! Which is, it was a good movement. Couple good high velocity spots, clothesline, shoulder blocks right into each other. That was okay. But the match wasn't about the physicality. The match wasn't about some holes, some counters, which Mr. Cena again kind of fucked up. But the story that was told by both men, facial expressions, body language by both Cena and Bray Wyatt saved this. And my biggest gripe I'm going to have with the match, other than the fact that John Cena can't wrestle, that's neither here or there, is a couple of spots where Cena had those big steel steps, or had a chair, and was looking at like, oh no, I'm gonna hit you, but I can't do it. I'm not gonna be a monster. Nigga, I'm sorry for saying nigga, but damn it, nigga, we've seen plenty of you fucking times whacking people with steel chairs, bats, steel steps, everything. You've remember that pay-per-view we dropped all those chairs on Wade Barrett? So, fool, you've done this shit before, so I don't want to hear this. Oh no, I will not go to the dark side. I will not be a monster. You've done it plenty of fucking times, dude. There's plenty of shit we can rewind the clock back on and expose that bullshit lie. So I had a problem with that. But the overall scope of it, they told the proper story of Cena trying to not be the monster Bray Wyatt claims he is. Would I have liked to see Bray Wyatt win? Absolutely, but I think this is one rare case where um, not one rare case, but he's in the right proper position where even a loss does not hurt Bray Wyatt. He's somewhere in that circle of about to break through comfort zone. So now, so pretty much no matter what you do to him right now is not going to hurt his stock. If the WWE fucks up Bray Wyatt after WrestleMania, then it's a whole other story. But for right now, Bray Wyatt losing to John Cena does not hurt his stock at all. This feud is not going anywhere. It's only going to continue. I do see Bray Wyatt winning down the line. Hopefully clean. Won't happen because Cena never loses clean. He did it one time against The Rock, and that's only because The Rock was in his backyard. Otherwise, let's face it, Cena has to lose by pinfall because of some weird outside interference or some shit. He does not lose clean. It has happened, but let's face it, it's like Hogan quality. It never happens. You know what I mean? So, 2 stars for the match. I will give it 4 for the overall presentation that includes Bray Wyatt's entrance to all the shenanigans in the ring and the story they told in the ring. Who knew John Cena knew how to tell a story in the ring? Who knew? Rest in peace. Is over. The world's smallest violin playing just for you. The dead man is fucking dead. I couldn't care less. 21-1. Brock Lesnar defeats The Undertaker. It ends the streak. Whew. We should have saw this coming. Should have. Everything was there. This was so well hidden in plain sight that he was going to go down that we missed it. Some people caught on. I know I was watching the match, telling myself, convincing myself that this did feel like the night it was going to happen. I didn't believe it. I still felt at some point I was going to see a tombstone, and that was going to be it. I thought 22-0, and I thought that was going to be it for Undertaker. I really felt this was his last match, and I felt like this was going to be his last match because just rewind the clock, just look at still photos of the past, let's say 2-3 WrestleManias. Of him versus CM Punk versus Shawn Michaels versus Triple H. Look at his physical digression of The Undertaker. This looked like a man that, quite frankly, looked dead. Lots of muscle mass loss. Still massive problems with his groin, his legs, his back. There's all sorts of fucked up. And the reason why I don't feel bad for The Undertaker, the reason why I don't feel bad for his fans, is because if you knew the backstory of what this became, you got shortchanged by your hero. Massively shortchanged by your hero. This is a man, this is why, for his career, nothing but respect. Nothing. Look at his career and you understand why this man is a true legend in every sense of the word. Every letter means it. He is what he is. He is a bona fide Hall of Famer. Not just WWE, but a true wrestling Hall of Fame. He's a surefire. Work ethic was great. Everything about his career just says legend. But for the past year, this is where I have no respect for the man right now. For the past year, you did nothing. Nothing. You've had 365 days. You had a whole year to work on body mass. You had a whole year to work on the groin problem. You had a whole year to work on the legs, the back, everything. So that when they called saying, hey Mark, it's that time again. What you want to do? You should have said, I'm still kind of banged up, but I'm better than I was yesterday. And we could do something with it. You did fucking nothing, so you get no respect, Undertaker. None, zip, not a fucking zero. You get fucking shit. Because for a whole year, you shortchanged your fans by not going to the gym, not going to proper doctors, not taking care of your back, your loin, your groin, or your legs to make sure come WrestleMania time 1 year later, no matter who was lined up against you, you were good to go. Maybe not 100%. Let's say maybe you're at 70. Let's say maybe you're really good at 80. The gods shine upon you. You're at 90%. You're a full-fledged healthy Undertaker ready to go on the grand stage of them all. Well, let's face it, even if you're not in the main event, you're one of the highest attractions to come. You did nothing. Nothing. That's the worst criminal fact. The worst criminal offense to it. You did nothing to get ready for WrestleMania. We had a whole fucking year to do it. You did nothing. Nothing. That's the worst part about it. Not the fact that you lost. The fact you gave management every reason to make sure you did lose. That's the worst criminal offense about it. Let's face it. Anyone who follows wrestling, even behind the scenes, more importantly, knows that he has said openly he's not against the streak ending, provided it is the right circumstance, the right opponent. Things have to be lined up properly so that should he lose, it's good for business. It's good for business. It looks good. Everyone goes home happy in some form or another. But he did everything to make sure he did lose. Now the problem with Brock is because people are screaming, "It's a part-time. It's a part-time. It's a part-timer." Before I tell you why I think Brock is a perfect person to beat the streak, I'll tell you why other people didn't beat the streak. No one was ready, and there was no one established enough to do it. We were teased Shawn Michaels and Triple H. We were teased CM Punk last year as viable people to end the streak. And these people were viable for one simple reason. These are all three men, more than anyone else recently, that we believe if the Undertaker lost can take the backlash of being the man that beat the Undertaker. Let's face it, Shawn Michaels screwed Bret Hart in Montreal. We know he can take the heat of being the Undertaker. Triple H has screwed over so many people backstage. Let's just say we know he can take the heat of being the man who beat the Undertaker. CM Punk flat does not give a flying fuck what you think. If you hate him, you hate him. You love him, you love him. Is the kind of guy that if he beat the Undertaker, we know it could take the heat of being the man that beat the streak. Brock Lesnar is in that mold. The reason why Brock Lesnar is the perfect person to beat the streak is because he's a true villain in every sense of the word. Most people, let's face it, do not like Brock Lesnar. Do not. Up until he's destroying someone, then they love him. But for the most part, people don't like Brock. He's the perfect villain, the perfect person to take the heat of being the man that beat the Undertaker. But he's part-time. Even better. He won't be around for people to backlash that. He's out of your mind. Out of sight, out of mind. He's the perfect man to beat the streak. Why did the streak go down? And this is my gut telling me this is because he's done. Flat out done. Finito. And again, I say go back to the past few WrestleManias, just still photo-wise. Just look back at the past few WrestleManias, wrestling CM Punk, wrestling Triple H, wrestling Shawn Michaels, and look at the physical degeneration of this man. If he beats Brock with a tombstone, which I think almost all of us thought he was going to do, we wouldn't have batted an eye just to be another guy on the list of people he defeated. But let's face it, considering how awful he looked last night, I don't think there was going to be many still photos or good video captures of him going off into the dark sunlight of him leaving. None. Zip, not at zero. So why did the streak go down? He could have ended 22-0 and walked away. Why did the streak have to go down? Why did the streak lose? Why? It's because the WWE did not have a WrestleMania moment for WrestleMania 30. None. WrestleMania 30 is going to go down for a couple of things. It's going to go down for the night Cesaro broke through, the night Bray Wyatt debuted at WrestleMania. It's going to go down as the day that, provided that goes well, of course, after post-WrestleMania. But there's no true WrestleMania moment. None. WWE screwed them so over for months leading up to Mania that they had to scramble to find the moment. It wasn't the right circumstance. It wasn't the perfect circumstance for the Undertaker to lose at WrestleMania. Not by any stretch of imagination. However, it was the perfect circumstance through unfortunate events that created this. They needed the streak to end because WrestleMania 30 was not going to have anything for people to remember. None. And this is that's unfortunate considering the good matches that were done throughout the crowd. So if you're wondering why the Shield stomped on Kane and the Outlaws, was to give the crowd ample time to digest what they just saw. They needed that time to digest that Brock Lesnar, the Beast incarnate. No man can beat the streak, but a beast can. Lesnar defeats the streak. That's why it went down. That's why it had to go down the way it did. They needed the moment. Taker is beyond broken, and I honestly believe it's instant karma. He deserved it. He deserved to lose because he did nothing in the past year to give the fans a viable reason to believe in him. None. He did nothing for the fans, and which sucks because Undertaker fans are very loyal, as any true fan is. And he did them horrible disjustice for over the past year, doing nothing for you. Nothing. As a career, he did everything for you. But this past year, he did nothing for you. He gave you every reason to lose the streak, and that's what he did. So Brock did it. All hail the Beast Incarnate, Brock Lesnar. So the Divas Battle Royal happened, and no one cared. Because no one cared. It's Divas Battle Royal, even if the title was on the line. This match served its purpose. It gave the crowd enough time to digest what they just saw, which was Brock Lesnar defeat The Undertaker, thus ending the streak. As far as the Divas Championship as a whole goes, it's AJ Lee and no one else. Until someone comes up to challenge AJ Lee to be on par with her in the ring, talent-wise, as well as have a viable connection with the crowd. Her longest reigning title reign, how many days it is now, is going to continue because there's no reason for her to drop the belt until there's someone that threatens it. The obvious choice would be Tamina, but let's face it, the crowd isn't invested in Tamina. They'll only be invested in her because she's going to turn on AJ. Other than that, there's no reason to give her a title. Maybe threaten for the title, but there's no reason why anyone other than AJ Lee should be the Divas champion until someone comes up and gives them a viable reason to give the belt to someone else. Miss you, Caitlyn, because I thought you were awesome, but this match did what it was supposed to. AJ left with the gold, only person who should have left with the gold, and gave the fans plenty of time to adjust to the fact it was Taker and Brock they just witnessed and all that cool stuff. Do I give this match any stars? No, it gets nothing. I don't count it as a match. It was just something to get people adjusted to the fact that that just happened. So no stars for this match, just because I don't think it was a match. So there. And now we've reached the main event of WrestleMania 30, the Viper, Randy Orton defending against the Animal Dave Batista and Daniel Bryan, the champion of the BS movement. And triple threat matches work usually one of three ways. They're either yay, they're okay, and then they're, oh man, I actually watched that. This was somewhere between okay and yay. It was a very good match. Wasn't memorable, but it was a very good match. The ending is what people are going to remember, not so much the match itself. And of course, that one awesome spot when Daniel Bryan got Batista bomb / RKO'd through a table, which for a hot minute I think many people thought, oh shit, I think he actually is hurt, because yeah, that didn't look like it should went down the way it did. Daniel's not moving, folks. We may have to rewrite the script like now. Holy Christ! But all worked out well. Daniel Bryan winning the title, well deserved. Good sir, well deserved. Daniel Bryan. Bryan Danielson, I just want to say that one time from ROH, well deserved, good sir. The American Dragon coming through and winning the gold after almost a full year of really bad booking to keep him down. I truly believe WWE did their absolute best to make sure Daniel Bryan never saw a main event, let alone a WrestleMania main event, and here we are. So let's get the big elephant out of the room, that is Batista. I really think he got served up wrong in the worst possible way. Going back to the Royal Rumble, there are only two people who should have won the Royal Rumble, and that's Daniel Bryan and CM Punk. The minute Daniel Bryan was in the Royal Rumble, I think we all believed CM Punk was going to win it and was going to go on a main event WrestleMania against Randy Orton. And those two have, again, worked in the past and have had spectacular matches, which didn't scare me, but for some reason scared management. And of course, that led to Punk's exodus. And this massive scramble over the past couple of months to try to find a way to make sure this worked out, because Batista got booed out of the building once he won the Rumble. And since then, let's face it, if they were expecting Batista to be cheered, considering the current climate at the time, I think management served up Batista to fail from the get-go more than Batista served himself up to fail. So that being said, WrestleMania 30 ended the only possible way it could have ended. Daniel Bryan winning the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, and more importantly than anything else, did not pin Randy Orton. Because let's face it, Batista versus Daniel Bryan reads too easy of a squash encounter of the Animal coming with his best friend behind him to take out Daniel Bryan. Randy Orton does deserve to be the main event spotlight. Yes, on the mic he's about as dry as paint, but in the ring, I dare you to find someone as good as Randy Orton. He's just that good. There's a reason why he has the main world titles. There's a reason why he, in his match against John Cena back at TLC, yes, it was a gimmick match, but he won clean against Cena in a gimmick match. Shows you how good Randy Orton is that they had him go over clean. Again, granted, it's a gimmick match, but still went over clean over John Cena to win the titles and unify them. In another show, I'll explain why I think this was the wrong people involved in this match and all the cool shit, but for this purpose right now, this match, we'll give it 4 stars. I will give it 4 stars. I don't do halves. If I did give it halves, I'll say 3.5, but I don't do halves. I'll say 4 stars because it was 3 people who are good in the ring, and we got the moment that everyone was dying for, Daniel Bryan winning the match. We do get, I know people are going to go, well, it's great, now we're going to have Randy Orton versus Daniel Bryan again. I guarantee you, I'm guaranteeing right now, considering how well these two guys work well in the ring together, I will put them on par with Triple H and The Rock. And not as good as matches are, but the chemistry. They can constantly be in the ring at the same time over and over again, month after month, year after year, and still put on quality matches. So I don't see this as a downside. I think it'll be short-lived because Dave Batista will feud with Daniel Bryan, but at least one more pay-per-view. At least one more. It will be Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton, but it will be worth it. 4 out of 5 for this match. Daniel Bryan leaves the way he should have left with the title. That's it. Ooh, that's a lot of stuff. A lot of talking. As a whole, WrestleMania 30 gets 3 stars. I know what you're thinking, but you get like 4 stars to almost all the matches. I know, but it's my rating. And only one true WrestleMania moment came because of desperation more than a true moment that could have been created. That's why I give it a 3. This could have been a lot better card with a lot more moments, but this turned out to be better than it should have been. This was a rush job pay-per-view on the biggest stage of them all, and they managed to pull off good matches throughout, but let's face it, there have been better WrestleManias with a lot crappier matches that came out better than this. So, matches-wise, everyone pulled out 4 stars or so here or there. 3 stars because it was a rush job that could have been a whole lot better. The fans got shortchanged, and there you go. That's my WrestleMania review. Whew, it's about to get time for Raw, and then we'll see how the Aftermath of Raw ties into all this shit that just happened. So stay tuned for that. And again, just jump into timestamps, leap ahead, and we'll see how this works out from there. So, Raw, bitches! Okay, so I went old school with my shirt. With you old school Y2J fans, yeah. Can you imagine how big I was back in the day? How fat I fucking was? I mean, Jesus Christ, it's like a fucking poncho. Ugh, anyways. Please shut the fuck up. Hell up, whatever. So here's Raw in our Raw recap. Now that it's finally happened. Show begins with Daniel Bryan, big "You Deserve It" chant amongst other chants of the night. Triple H comes out, makes the match him versus Daniel Bryan tonight for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, which we know would have been big, bad, not good for business if Triple H did leave with the titles later on. And I'm gonna skip ahead, made some notes here so I know where the fuck I'm at when I'm talking about a couple of things. Then we had the backstage segment later on with Orton and Batista arguing with Steph on who should have, and Triple H, who should have the next shot at Daniel Bryan. In the wrestling world, Orton has the best case because he does have the old school rematch clause in his contract. Of course, Hunter being the COO of the company gets to supersede that. Says, nope, shut up, I got this. Books him against the Usos for the tag team titles. And I honestly thought my initial reaction was, well, we're going to have new tag team champions tonight. Turned out not to be the case, as later on in the night, they just stomped the Usos in a double countout. Batista bomb, the Hangman DDT outside, just laid waste to them and just walked away. And that's pretty much how that happened. This was a good match. The Wyatt family versus Cena, Sheamus, and Big E. Crowd still hot for WrestleMania. We'll get to the crowd in a minute. But the big, clean win. Let me emphasize that. Big, clean, dominating win by the Wyatt family. Eric Rowan going hard, plowing through Cena, knocking him out of the ring. Harper with the suicide dive, taking out Sheamus. And then Wyatt hitting Sister Abigail on Big E for the win. The crowd obviously hot for the Wyatt family because they're facing Cena. But true. The Wyatt family looked dominating in this win, which is the big surprise for me. Not the fact that they won clean, which is nice, especially Bray Wyatt getting the pin over Big E Langston, whose stock is dropping quick. But the fact that there was a dominating performance, taking out Sheamus, taking out Cena, and the hard clean win. There was no circumstantial kind of shit like that. It was a flat out bam over knockout, good clean dominating win for the Wyatt family. Skipping down, Bo Dallas, believe, you can blow me. Fandango and Summer versus Santino and Emma, quick tap out victory. I think that was just a filler, real quick to get the crowd, like last night with the Divas, kind of calming them down from what they just saw, trying to get the crowd under emotion and everything else. Then came by far the highlight of the night, by far. WrestleMania crowds the past 2 years have been known for hijacking the show. It's been fun, absolutely been fun, great for TV, great for the live crowd, and adding to the spectacle that you want to attend these kind of events after WrestleMania, which is great. But hijacking the show has been a downfall, and this truly speaks to how much of a genius Paul Heyman really is. This was a full-blown shoe promo. Not full-blown shoe promo, but damn near close to a full-blown shoe promo to obviously hype the greatness that is Brock Lesnar defeating the streak. More importantly, when after Hogan was a great line, Superdome Hogan, not Silverdome. Great line, got the good crowd pop for that. The comment about JBL and the announcers, the way he went after the crowd themselves for being, showing up. Brock not here for them. Brock is here to dominate, to put tears in the eyes of children. He's not here because some asshole flew halfway on the road to try to be on TV. Paul Heyman made sure that this WrestleMania crowd, post-WrestleMania crowd, wasn't going to hijack Raw. In this great shoot interview, he did two things masterfully. One, obviously hyping Brock Lesnar as the man who beat the streak. Number two, turned the potential hijacked crowd into a regular, boring, old school wrestling crowd. That's the beauty of this promo. Shut the crowd up. If you watch Raw again after that night, the crowd was still hot. The crowd was still into it. There were a couple moments where they did try to hijack the show. I guess a lot of overseas people were attending, but for the most part, it stopped right there when Paul Heyman did this promo. Absolutely beautifully done. Definitely the highlight of the night. After that was the absolute mugging of the Usos by Orton and Batista. We'll skip that shit. RVD versus Sandow. Quick squash match. RVD hitting his typical spots, rolling thunder and the such. Five-star frog splash for the win. How badly has Damien Sandow's stock plummeted since losing to John Cena in that Money in the Bank match when he tried to cash in Money in the Bank and lost? So I'm not sure what's with Sandow. I don't believe he's in any trouble backstage or any of that mess. From my understanding, he's well liked backstage, has a great work ethic and the such, great on the mic. I don't know what's happening with creative and Damien Sandow. That since that time, he's pretty much taking a Dolph Ziggler and just dropping hard. So hopefully something will cool come of that. This is where the hijack part of the night came back. Rey Mysterio losing to Wade Barrett. Big crowd, heavy with Barrett. Again, this probably goes to more people overseas hijacking the show than anything else. But still a dominating win by Wade Barrett over a former world champion, even though it was a paper champion because of the whole rest in peace Eddie thing. But still, big dominating win for Wade Barrett. I love the bullhammer elbow. I'm a big fan of Wade Barrett. Have been since the Nexus. Hopefully this is a start of Barrett rise again. Hopefully not at mid-card level. Hopefully he does make the ascension to, the next level. Pulling for you, Wade. Pulling for you. The super athlete debuts Alexander Yuskiev. Crush Zack Ryder. Didn't see a whole lot of Rusev in NXT. So I saw some bits of him. Potential is there. Not digging the gimmick because obviously WWE plays a lot to racism and current events. This is no difference because the whole shit's happening in Russia and everything. Talent is there with Rusev. Hopefully he expands on that enough. Doesn't just becomes the typical villain just because of where he's from and his valet where she's from. So hopefully, yeah. Warrior came out. Good speech from the Warrior. Love the epic coat. Awesome, dude. Awesome. Was a big Warrior fan as a kid. Loved it. And was really scared when he put on the mask. He was going to speak and lose the crowd. It was a very Warrior-esque speech, but the overall tone of it and what it represented, very well done. Good speech by the Hall of Famer. Go Warrior. AJ Lee came out, talked some smack about her 294-day reign. It was 295 days on Monday, and that's where it ended as Paige made her debut. And yes, it was a botched finish. It should have came out a lot better than that. Paige Turner is a pretty cool finisher, very sudden when done properly. I am a big fan of Paige. Been watching her on the indie scene, watching her on NXT. For those of you who have not watched her work, be very happy Paige is in the main roster. This is finally someone that could be on not on par with AJ Lee. I don't think just yet, but it's definitely someone that I think, as far as a quality match goes, can tell a good story in the ring, which is rare for a fucking diva. So I'm very hyped for Paige winning. I'm not hyped that she won the match like that. Win the title right then and there. I would like to see the build up to the win, but still, that's nice to see her in the Raw roster. I see big things for Paige, and you should be looking forward to it. Also, the Battle Royal thing happens. Cesaro came out great fucking bit with Zeb Coulter. I'm not a Zeb Coulter guy. I'm a Paul Heyman guy, and the crowd went fucking ballistic, as well they should. We were wondering how would Cesaro translate the big Money in the Bank like win from the Battle Royal into the next line to Raw, how they keep it forward. Easily put, give him the best mouthpiece in the business. Probably, I would argue, the smartest mind in the business in Paul Heyman. This is a guy that this is a no-win situation for Cesaro. He cannot lose in this situation. The talent is there. The mic work is getting there. His connection with the crowd is already there. Him associated with Heyman is pure gold. 2014 is looking to be the year of Cesaro. I'm calling it right now. This looks to be the year of the Swiss Superman. This is pure gold for him. The match with Swagger was okay. Again, mini feuds, probably not gonna last long. No big swing, no big shocker, but this is definitely just pure gold for Cesaro. It's a no-lose situation for Cesaro. Then comes the ending of the show where Kane lets slip that was Triple H who put out the order on the Shield as Stephanie was trying to rally the troops to make sure Hunter leaves with the title tonight. And by Kane dropping a little nugget of information he wasn't supposed to drop, the Shield was like, alright, nigga, we got you. No, we got you. We got this. We got this, man. We got this. So, main event time, Bryan comes out, Batista and Orton come out, whoop his ass. Ridiculously, King comes out, chokeslam, out comes Triple H. And this is we're pretty sure he's about to pick Daniel Buck for the final pedigree and make it official. The Shield come out. It was very reminiscent to stand up with the Shield hat with the Wyatt. It's pretty much the same premise. And before you knew it, it was a battle in the Shield cleaning out the ring. And it's going to be war now, apparently. The Shield and Daniel Bryan versus the Authority. And I must admit, this felt like a very old, it's been a while I can say this, a very old wrestling TV show. It wasn't as far as the commentators constantly trying to tell you the story of what's going on. The wrestlers did the business in the ring. The commentators just reacted to it. It felt like a regular, old, boring wrestling show, which is very good. I am very cautiously optimistic, but I've seen this story before where we've been hooked on that we're going to see wrestling return to us, and then a couple weeks later, a couple months later, we're back to square one. Cautiously optimistic. This is a very good sign for post Raw. I give total credit for Paul Heyman and his massive interview with not interview but promo with Brock Lesnar, making sure the rest of Raw was not going to be hijacked with that great shoot interview, and let the crowd and let us just enjoy an actual wrestling TV show. So after Raw, damn, five stars, easy, man. It could have easily gone the opposite way. Excuse me, had the crowd hijack Raw like it has the past 2 years. And big credit to all the wrestlers and entertainers that actually were on the show. That did such a great job that the commentators didn't have to sell you the story. They told the story, commentators react to it. It's how it should be done. It came out to be a great wrestling show. So now that the whole 40 hours of WrestleMania and Raw is over, what can we expect? Daniel Bryan looks to be not going anywhere, which is a good thing. It looks like the Shield is not going anywhere anytime soon, as long as this feud continues. We do know the Shield will break up eventually, but at least for the time being, WWE is smart enough to realize the Shield is money right now. There's no point in breaking them up anytime soon. With the regrouping of Evolution is really big right now as well. Wyatt is pure gold. Cesaro is on the move. I'd like to see more coming out of Sandow. I'd like to see more coming out of The Miz, Dolph Ziggler. It's early. We still got a couple more months to SummerSlam, but for a time being, we've watched wrestling. Really, we've watched wrestling. So hopefully, good things will come of this. That is a full Raw recap. Hope you digged it. If you didn't, I'm sorry. I'll try to do better next time. There's comments in there. You can send an email, whatever. Cool. I'm all with it. So till next time. Eat, drink, be merry, and fucking wrestling. Who knew, right? Later, guys.